Alright, y'all, just got to the shop. I'm on a new schedule now, so I don't get here till close to 4 o'clock instead of just before 3 like normal. Dad's been painting on this old frame, and man, this thing's starting to look like a brand new car. Ain't that right?
That's right.
Brand or new. Nice and shiny and pretty. It's gonna turn out awesome. Hey, go ahead, say it again. Sorry, I had set my phone down.
It will be prettier than the day it left the factory.
That's right. That's for sure. Mr. Van Gogh himself, right? Huh?
It'll be full of paint.
Out of my head?
Yeah, your hair.
Yeah. About got her whooped now. Look at there. It's like a brand new GTO from right there forward. Then you get to see all this good stuff. Oh yeah. Got some license plates we'll just screw down over that. That'll be good enough for now. Put floors in it later. You guys get to see all of it. That's the plan. A little bit at a time. Show you how to do stuff on a budget and homegrown, do-it-yourself friendly. Because that's all we do. That's the only way we can build hot rods, if we do the labor. And this is how we do stuff. Simple, but functional. See my train taping ability. See how I did? Uh-oh. And this is that Rust-Oleum oil-based enamel, y'all. Same stuff we use for the rear end. Dad painted the rear end with it.
There you go.
There you go, right there. Good stuff. Get it at Lowe's. And I wire wheeled this the other day when I was cleaning the frame with a softer wire wheel. Same one I did the timing cover with. Just cleaned it up good, so I figure I'd tape it off. Look at there. Brand new from the firewall forward. Y'all check out how awesome this looks. Dad sprayed the firewall for me, helping us out while I was at work, because we're obviously on a time crunch. This thing really looks good. Old rattle can restoration. Car's coming along. And then he painted some other smaller stuff. These are brake line brackets that go on the frame. That's part of the transmission mount. Transmission shifter cable bracket. These hold down the cross member. This has got to do with the parking brake. And I got a new forward cable coming for that tomorrow. Ordered it from O'Reilly's. These are our brake lines. This is the crossover line from passenger to driver. These are our lines that go on the rear end housing, so all that's painted, gonna look sweet on there. And then we got a he's painted the coil springs already. And then today we got in inline tube. The company guys, they sell a lot of little stuff at a good price. So these are our trans cross mount insulators. I think these were like 18 bucks shipped, where they were twice that much from Ames or anybody else. But the company's called Inline Tube. They make brake lines and all that stuff. Fuel lines, little detail parts. So y'all check them out. I got I'm trying to remember what else I ordered from. I ordered some other stuff. But anyway, that's the plan. Got that mess going on today. Looking sharp. There's the new upper and lower control arms. Nice and shiny and new. Going on this brand new restored front end. Frame and firewall. I'm gonna start getting all this mess bolted together. Shiny new stuff installed. Run them up with the impact. Still got to grease everything and then tighten them with an actual, you know, like a pull handle, so we know they're good and snug. But they're on there. New bolts, new nuts and washers. This one here is the one that they welded the washers on the outside. It was a little more difficult to line up, but they're on there. Well, y'all, look how shiny that thing is. Brand or new. Nice and restored. Glad I didn't leave that out. Control arms. Got the center link and the idler arm installed. Got all that on there. Was working on putting the steering links together. Got those together. Obviously they're not, you know, we still got to get them on. But looking pretty sweet. Got to get another spring compressor because the ones we've got won't really work in this situation. And then Dad went ahead and painted the cross member, so it's ready to go. We're getting there a little bit at a time. I think it's looking awesome. Okay, we back here again today. Got a different coil spring compressor because we didn't have the right one. This is the one that goes inside the coil spring. That's it in the box. Rented this from O'Reilly's. Probably not gonna take it back. Probably just gonna keep it. It was brand new. I cut the zip tie off the box at the store. Up here on the, so these washers are part of it, right? This C-clip goes on there to keep those from sliding down the shaft, and it won't fit through the hole where the shock comes through. And I was doing some looking last night at about how to do this, because our other spring compressors wouldn't work. And I saw where a guy on the GTO forum said just stick it through there and run it up. So that's what we're going to try to do. See if this will be enough or if I need to do it a different way. But this should do the same thing. I started at the bottom, so I've run it up a little bit so far. But see how this works out. And y'all know these are already painted, so I'm gonna skin them up. But try not to too bad. How do I want to do this? I didn't paint the spindles. They're going to be rusty. Go ahead and get the wrenches. Put the lower control arms on wrong. What do you mean? Either that or the uppers are on wrong. They're not lining up at all. 3 inches off on the cross. This isn't good at all.
Be guessing, but I'd say the bottom.
That's what I'm thinking. Bottoms are wrong. Put the bottom control arms on wrong. And they're the hardest ones to put on. So that's good. We're gonna start over. Yeah. But y'all get to see all that because part of being human, part of hot rodding. Learn the hard way the first time. See, if we learn the hard way and you guys decide to use any of these parts, then you know how to do it right the first time. Oh, that stinks. So, we're gonna swap those around. Okay, everybody. I'm sure some of y'all are professionals at this. This is the first time for me, and this has been a pain. So, we put vice grips on the uphill side of both of these ears because it kept wanting to run up the coil and back the pressure off. Still had to use a pry bar to get it in the pocket. And then, you know, we run it through the shock mount. Trying to fool with that thing just kept coming apart. So anyway, did that and then still had to, got the upper nut on, snugged it up enough it wouldn't come off. And then use this 3-inch ratchet strap hooked to the frame up there and to the bottom control arm over this to pull up on this lower control arm, and that allowed us to seat this bottom one and get the nut on there. That was a pain for sure, but it's on. Everything's nice and pretty except the brakes and the spindle, but it'll be all right. This This was designed by an engineer. So if you decide to use this tool, keep that in mind. Engineers don't work on cars, and they hate mechanics. So everybody keep that in mind. This is inside that coil, and you got to get it out. I had to get the long one outside the coil. I'll show y'all on the next one because we're gonna have to do it again probably. I got the long one outside the coil, got the short one fished out the bottom of the control arm, got them straight, and then had to flip it over in the coil, which is really tight by the way, and then fish it out to get this out of the inside of the coil spring. Thought we were gonna have to leave it in there and just not run a shock on this side, but we got it out. So now we're gonna start on the other side. Okay, spring compressor, same location through the shock hole. Got vice grips on both sides of the ears on the high side so it can't just spin back up the coil. And now I'm gonna start tightening up the compressor, and I'll tighten it up till it gets really tough to do, and then we'll get the pry bar out and get it in the pocket and go from there. But I'm gonna throw y'all on the time lapse, let you watch. Only thing left on both sides of the cotter pins. But I want y'all to see how aggravating this is right here. Let's see if I can set you up where you can see it. Trying to get this. Yeah, this part of this. So let me see. Put it on the back side. Maybe you'll be able to see it better. So this thing is aggravate. What you do is you stick that one out. Work it around. The front side's bigger. So you try and get it out like that. Okay. So now we're here. Now we're gonna try and, let's see, we need to get lower, I think. Yeah. Well, the biggest gap in it's on this front side, so let's see here. That's it. 10 minutes worth of it. I'm getting a little more done on the front end. Dad painted the idler arm. because this wasn't painted like this was, so it wouldn't rust. Sprayed the frame where I already scratched it up. New center link, new ends on both. These are, I think I ordered these on eBay. The grease fittings on the back, it's supposed to be here, so these are real close to the frame, but hopefully we'll get away with it. I don't know. Painted all this, looks good. You went ahead and painted, you already brought, no, sway bars out there. Dad painted the sway bar, so we got the sway bar. This is off the orange maroon 2/3 GTO, so we got a sway bar now for the front of the car. These Chinesium eBay control arms have already got sway bar links on them that are new, so that's good. But right now, little teaser, that's what we're doing. Old drag shocks. So guys, these are 3-way adjustable competition engineering. They're made by Moroso. I'm gonna show you that process. They're simple, they're cheap. These things are like, I mean, they're not as cheap as factory shocks. And that's because I didn't pay enough attention and only ordered one on the Amazon instead of 2. But you know what? They're good shocks. They're, I got them on the front of this truck with this LS in it. And they're set on 80/20 on this truck because I daily drive it. I don't know if y'all can see in there where it is. Let's see. Oh. Where's that? Well, there it is. So they're on this little S10, and I mean, they're on 80/20 and the sway bar is back on it, but y'all can't tell. But it moves pretty good. It moved a lot more before the sway bar was on it. You know, sway bars limit upward travel, immediate upward travel. So on a drag car on the front, you know, the homemade secret of pulling the sway bar helps transfer weight. But we're gonna go ahead and put one on here because this car's got all new front suspension. Hopefully the frame's not bent to the point that we can't get it aligned. But I want this car to run and drive really well. You know, it's not gonna be fast, but it's gonna be cool. And I wanna, you know, like if we go to a car show and I drive the Chevy too, you know, Hannah will be able to get in this thing and just tool around in it. It'll just be a good driver. So that's the plan. But I'm gonna go ahead and put drag shocks on it. And they're gonna be set on 90/10 because this is a heavy car and might as well. I should have done it with the S10 too because it would work better now that it's got a front sway bar. But we got not 1, not 2, but 4. We got 4 stickers. So that's good. The way this thing works, so according to the directions, you're gonna stand it up and down and pump it 12 times to get all the air out of it. It'll get to the point that you can no longer compress it without really having to try. So you'll know you have all the air out of it. But with it fully compressed, you turn this thing and you'll hear 3 clicks. The first click is, here, I'll show y'all. First click is your 60/40, your next one's 80/20, and your last one's 90/10. So that's how it works. Get all the air out of it, hold it up and down and pump it, and then once you get all the air out of it, it says 12 times. You ain't gonna be able to pump this thing 12 times. Or at least I haven't been able to. The other one I think I got 7. And then you'll push it all the way down and you turn this clockwise only. The first click is significant. The next 2 get a little bit softer. But that's how it works. Nice and fancy. But these things aren't expensive relatively, and they do work. They do transfer weight really well. So that's the plan. I'm gonna show y'all all that. We're gonna get it thrown on this other side with some new bolts, which are right there. Some lock washers. And then it'll be time for brake calipers and rubber lines. 3-way adjustable drag shock. Now you're supposed to do this.
You gotta hold it straight up there.
Hold it straight up and down. And do this 12 times. There's 1. There's 2. Alright, I'm gonna call that good. So we got it all the way compressed now. We're gonna turn it. I'm gonna come over there. Maybe y'all can hear it, maybe y'all can't. I just don't know. So one of them is going to be a lot louder. All right, there's number 1. 2, 3, I think. That's hard to do.
That's it.
That's good?
1, 2, 3.
Okay. Now I'm gonna stick it on the car. I'm gonna time lapse that because y'all can put bolts in, right? Looking awesome. Only thing missing is the sway bar. And when I leave here, I'm going to O'Reilly's to get the bushings. They were supposed to come in at 3 today. They were like $8. So Dad painted the brackets and the bolts and the sway bar. Oh, there's the sway bar. Look at that. We got brakes, calipers, rubber lines all tight. I don't know about y'all, but I always loosen up my hard line when I connect these to make sure I line them up good and don't cross thread anything. And then I'll get these snug, tighten this back up and all, you know. And on this side, I just backed this one out most of the way. Gave me plenty of slack. Got my calipers on. This side, now this is a factory line. I loosened this and then hooked it up. I'm still concerned that's gonna hit them long tube headers, but I guess we'll see. I'm gonna throw the wheels and tires for the car in the back of the old slow and run by Road Mart in the morning and see if I can get some tires. We're thinking like a 25 and a half, 26 inch tire in the front, and that's a front wheel there. And then probably like a 28 inch tire on the back, a pretty good sized tire. Because this is a rear and this tire is way too small. But that's what we're thinking. Get some wheels. Maybe they've got them in stock. I don't know. They're 14s, 14 by 8s, 14 by 6 fronts. Got new lug nuts already. Got them at O'Reilly's. I used to work at O'Reilly's, so like in town, they're my go-to most of the time because I still know a lot of the guys. I mean, that was years ago when I worked there, but you know, I enjoyed it. So that's the plan. Had the bushing, so we'll get the sway bar on in the morning. If they have tires, it'll take me longer to get here if they can go ahead and mount them. But then if they do, we'll go ahead and stick wheels and tires on this thing and have a roller again. This brake line is kinked. That's from whoever moved this. So I don't know if I have a good one I can steal, but I do have brake line and fittings and a really good flare tool, so I can make new lines if I need to. Still trying to figure out the booster situation, y'all. This thing's got like almost a 12-inch booster, 11 and a half, 11, something like that. It's way too big. I want to go to a 9-inch booster, which was what's on the earlier GTOs. So when I go to O'Reilly's, I'm gonna see, because I think second gen Camaros came with them as well. They can order me a 66 GTO booster, but where we're at right now, you know, it's not really looking good for the No Names Nationals. This car, we've still got to build a transmission. We've still got to build a motor. That needs cam bearings knocked in it, the crank polished, and then we can hone it and clean everything and reassemble it. And I don't like to do things like that in a hurry. I'd rather take an extra day or two and build a really good motor the first time. Obviously, we're going back stock pistons and stuff. I mean, you know, guys, I don't have the money to spend really to go a whole lot farther than that. Had I known I was going to get in this mess this deep, I would have gone LS to start with. I hate to be that way. That's just the reality. You know, I'm not made of money, so. But you know, I'm doing the best I can. We're trying to save them, do what we can do. Here's our transmission. Got the good pump. You know, I got to run by Mike's and let him look at some of this stuff and tell me what I need to replace. Because I don't know if that's any good. You know, it's got some grooves in it. I'm just, you know, learning. Definitely don't know anything about automatics, but that's where we're at, guys. So we're still trying, we're still working on it. If we can make a roller, that would be a huge benefit. It's supposed to be a hurricane coming. Like to get this thing in the shop because now we have room. So that's the plan. But that's where we're at on the front end of the car. Nice and shiny and beautiful. Still, You know, Dad hit this up here. I cleaned or wire wheeled some of this where the rust was. He sprayed that, but we left our good, beautiful green paint for y'all to see. Good? Down she goes. What you think? Needs a taller tire, don't it?
Could use a bigger tire, but not too much bigger because it's close to this front corner.
It is, that's true. You got a, I don't know, 1.5, 2 inches.
I don't know if you'd be able to get a 29-inch tire under the fender well.
No, I don't think you would.
Because it might hit.
Well, I guess with like, so that's a 26-inch tire, right?
Yeah.
So a 28 would be an inch closer.
Right.
Because it's only an inch on each side.
Right. You could run a 28.
But we couldn't run a 29.
I don't think so.
Nah.
You can snatch one off Chevy too and see.
That's a big old tire.
Yeah, that's a grown tire.
But I don't think this 308 gear would like a 29-inch tire. I don't know how deep. I guess I had to Google and see how deep a Turbo 400 first gear is, because you know that Chevy, that close ratio Muncie and that Chevy 2, the first gear is not that deep. The like first gear in that car, leaving in that car, it could actually, it's got a 456. It could probably use like a 513. But then,
crazy.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't be able to drive it. You couldn't go nowhere on it then.
You can store them back.
Yeah, store and back. That's about it. Old crusty barnfind GTO's in the shop on its own wheels and tires. Obviously we're gonna change wheels and tires, but it's a roller now, which is awesome. When the booster comes in, we'll figure out our brake situation, if I gotta remake these 2 lines here or not. And then I guess when we get the motor built and transmission put together, we'll find out whether or not that proportioning valve is going to clear the headers. I'm assuming it doesn't, and that's why it wasn't there. But it looks pretty good inside. Firewall, front end, all the suspension looks awesome. Fresh paint. It's looking good. Rear end's looking good. Got brakes on it. What are you doing, dude? There you go. So that's where we're at. Motor's blowed apart still. Transmission's blowed apart still. It is Saturday, and the No Names Nationals next weekend. So taking the S10, that's the only option right now, because I can't take the whole week off of work, and even if I did, I don't think we'd have the GTO together. So that's the plan, guys. Take the S10 up there, have some fun, shoot some footage, meet everybody. Be a good thing to do. So, you know, it's the first one they're having. I'm pretty stoked about it, you know, be part of the very first one. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Next year, the crusty barnfind GTO will be there, no doubt. Because if we can't build a Turbo 400 and a raggedy, no compression 400 Pontiac motor in a year, we should probably just quit what we're doing. But I think we can handle that part. So Appreciate y'all tuning in the channel. Appreciate all our new subscribers. Appreciate Dad over there. There it is. Y'all have a good one.